targeting the same clientele that's in Drum Hill 1. Well, it's not 100% accurate.
When this was first conceived and the campus idea came up, the idea was that the independent seniors from Drum Hill 2, as they aged and needed to have more assistance, would be able to move directly into Drum Hill 1. If the income is restricted to 50% and below, these are not people who can afford to move into Drum Hill 1.
And the way you've undermined it is, sooner or later, the social pressure isn't to build middle-class housing by the county or to influence it. The pressure on the county is litigation against it that says you haven't taken care of the poor and the very poor. And so what this is going to morph into, it's just a question of when it's going to do, is the pressure will push this kind of 20% of the average income, and pretty soon it's going to be the very, very poor will end up in there. We've had experience in at least two specific instances within the city. First in the 1950s and 60s, and then in the 1990s. We've had two of these kinds of plans that started in really very attractive buildings turn into housing for the very, very poor. But they require more assistance from the community than they're able to give back to the community. The consequence is the community in a profile becomes poorer. Not poorer in money, but poorer in spirit, poorer in having to take care of more people.
What positive attribute does this proposal bring to this city? How does it help the city?
It provides tax revenue.
According with the tax structure, it would be about $10,000 to the city.
I mean, to put it in perspective, we could get the same amount of tax revenues from 5 detached townhouses on that property. And so when you talk about the upside to the city, on that same parcel, one could try to think about 5 single market rate townhouses, 5 market rate detached townhouses on that property for land that costs nothing, and generate the same level of tax revenues for the city.
So that's a concern from the financial aspect, but we're providing, a little bit like Bill said, we're providing a lot of services on the back of the ambulance and fire district to provide services for the people of need.
In terms of the incomes, again, they were the same presented throughout the various approval processes.
But they also had shorter lifetimes. Initially, they were applied for 30 years, and then 30 goes to 40, 40 goes to 50. The assumption of what happens in a 20 to 30-year time horizon is different than the assumptions you might make over 50 years. Clearly different than in perpetuity.
In the HIF application that we approved, we were under the impression it was a 40-year, and now we just found out today from Westchester County that is now a 50-year. And at today's meeting, we found out that it's now 99 years. And yet you're requesting the city to sign off on the document on the program that established it. And that's a major concern.
But Peekskill Plaza right now has vacancies.
There's not a demand in the city of Peekskill for housing for seniors. Not within the city. Your constituency won't come from Peekskill. The problem has been we've always been the host. And every time there's been a construction of the kind you're talking about, there has been another importation required to bring the people to make the program that you're talking about successful. You need to import people from other places. First from the region, not from the region, from the greater New York area. And that's exactly what we witnessed in every one of these projects that you've identified, and a couple of others as well. So what we're saying to you is, if there may be a more profitable, a better start to the use of that site than your present plan.
I think the goal is really to identify what are the needs of the community, what are the needs of the project, and figure out some way to marry them.
Hill is losing all the way around. Number one, we're giving up our property. Number two, we have no direct communication for the affordability. Number three, we have no connection with the occupancy. Number 4, we're giving up total reins to the county. So we're not only losing IDA financing, we're not only losing sales and mortgage tax, we're not only losing tax revenue for the property, but as far as I'm concerned, and I've always been a proponent of getting the best bang for the buck for this city, this to me, at least from what I'm reading and from what you seem to be suggesting, from my point of view, I can't support this. This is only giving away our property and losing a significant amount of revenue. When our revenue is going down in the city, we need to create development that's bringing it up. We're getting this 20 minutes before a meeting starts, and frankly, I think it's irresponsible. Before a meeting starts. We're getting this 20 minutes before a meeting starts. We're getting this 20 minutes before a meeting starts. At around 7:11 tonight is when the discussion transpired, and I felt that was totally inappropriate for us to have legislation to vote on tonight, when in fact we as a council, I didn't have time, nor did I have the opportunity to see the actual ramifications of any of the changes and the questions that I had asked.
I do believe that rebirth is possible, but I believe it's only possible if we very seriously are willing to understand the deals that are put in front of this city and to really represent what is in the best interests of those who elect us. If someone presents me with a half deal or a half set of facts or no set of facts,